but because the lesson I took away from the experience is applicable to all of us here tonight. With our busy lives, we students have found ourselves struggling to balance homework with extracurricular activities, friends, family, post-high school plans, and jobs. And parents, you may or may not realize how problems can spin out of proportion inside our adolescent minds. Sometimes a small shortcoming, blowing a job interview, botching a speech, bombing a test, seems like the end of the world. But I urge the class of 2011 not to fear mistakes. It's easy to catastrophize our failures, but far more beneficial to correct them and move on. In fact, I would argue that the surest way to learn something correctly is to completely bungle it first. Let's relate it back to my crash. Once you know what it's like to hurl into 18 tons of solid metal, you will do everything in your power to make sure that it never happens again. So as you venture off into the world, I encourage you all to make as many mistakes as possible because chances are most of them will not be as life-threatening as colliding with a bus full of screaming people. The other lesson I hope you would glean from my vehicular mishap is the importance of asking questions. For some people, this seems like a sign of weakness. We don't want to appear incompetent, so we say nothing. But again, let's use my crash as an example. Obviously, I had some braking issues, so I signed up for a driver's ed class. Now, I think I have a decent amount of common sense, and I'd like to think that I can work most things out by myself. But driving is an activity that ties my life and the lives of others to my acceleration pedal. So I had to sacrifice a little pride and admit I didn't know everything about changing lanes. Otherwise, I would risk the safety of large, frequently stopping vehicles everywhere. And while I was initially peeved at having to take orders from my instructor, asking questions and following his advice are ultimately what allowed me to refine my driving skills. The same idea applies to all of us. Asking for help isn't a sign of stupidity. In fact, it shows incredible intelligence and maturity. If you don't understand something, you're not going to reach any epiphanies by silently standing like a deer in the headlights of an approaching 18-wheeler. And when the situation is potentially dangerous, the least you can do for yourself and the people around you is get some help from the professionals. So if you're staring blankly at the big red F at the top of your quiz, getting chewed out by an overbearing boss, or smacking yourself over a costly parking ticket, remind yourself that it's not the end of the world and resolve to do better next time. Ask your friends, family, coaches, professors, co-workers, drill sergeants, or DMV reps for help. But never lose sight of how much growth we stand to gain from our mistakes, both now and in the future. In my situation, acknowledging my inexperience proved the lesson far superior to the instructions for emergency braking. I'd like to congratulate the class of 2011 and wish you all a safe and happy journey on the road of life. And for those of you who are driving tonight and are now panicked, don't worry about me. You and the buses are safe. Thank you.